Welcome back to the Bad Influence podcast where we challenge the norms and push you to be your best self. Today, we're diving into a topic that's crucial for personal growth and emotional well being, which is what we all want, don't you think? I'm talking about taming your triggers. Have you ever found yourself overreacting to a fucking small comment or situation? Those intense reactions are often triggered by deeper issues. But what if I told you that learning to tame your triggers can transform your life? Oh, yes, we're gonna get right into the biggest issue that a lot of people are dealing with right now. Especially here in Utah. I don't know about your state, but here, the road rage is insane. So that just tells me that a lot of people are triggered. They trigger while they're driving. They're triggered while they're at work, while they're at their house, while they're on the street, and they just react in a very bad way. So, imagine a life where you respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. I know, right? This is a life where you can handle stress and conflict with grace. I know. A lot of people think, especially guys, think that handling things with grace makes you look weak. But it doesn't. It doesn't make you look weak. It actually makes you look in control. And when you are in control and you start talking to others with grace and in control, it actually sounds pretty fucking good. People start listening to you. People start, respecting you, coming to you for advice, and all the good stuff. So let's explore why it's important to tame your triggers and how they affect your life. And I'll share steps to take control of your emotional reactions. So stick with me because this episode might just change how you handle life's challenges. Now, triggers are those little buttons that, when pushed, cause an emotional explosion. They're often tied to past experiences and unresolved issues. The problem is that unchecked triggers can wreak havoc on your life. They can strain relationships, hinder your professional growth, and even damage your mental health, which is something that we have to take control of and we have to manage it. We cannot allow this kind of damage happen every day because at the end of the day, you still have to go home to your family. And if you're triggered, those triggers are going to come out at your house, at your kids, at your wife, at somebody that's innocent of whatever you're feeling, right? The issue with triggers is that they hijack rational thinking. When triggered, the brain goes into fight or flight mode, making it difficult to respond calmly and logically. This can lead to overreactions and decisions you later regret. Oh, believe me, I know a lot about that. I have said and done things at the spur of the moment because I was triggered and then I regretted it. 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, an hour later, a few days later, I regretted it. Unmanaged triggers can create a cycle of negative behavior. Each time you react impulsively, you reinforce the trigger, making it more powerful, giving it all your power, giving it all your control over you. And this can lead to a pattern of escalating conflicts and emotional instability, which is why it's so important to address and tame these triggers. Because, again, who wants to be in a relationship with someone that is so triggered about the little things in life, right? Who wants to work or hire someone that is so triggered they fight everyone in the office, right? Nobody. Nobody wants to deal with that. I was hard to deal with, so I can tell you. Taming your triggers is the best thing that you can do. Because there was a time when I used to get incredibly angry whenever someone criticized my work. Even constructive feedback felt like a personal attack. Even if it was my wife giving me the feedback, my reactions were intense and I often lashed out, damaging relationships with coworkers and friends and even with my wife. While I was in therapy, I realized that my reactions were tied to a deeper issue, an insecurity rooted in my childhood. Here's what happened. I can't believe this single thing fucked up my entire life until I fixed it. But what happened was that my uncle promised me trips and anything I wanted if I did good in school. This happened in Mexico. When it was time to pay up, he always said, "You could have done better," according to him. Even if it was an A, I had to get an A plus. I could have gotten an A minus or an A, and he was like, "You know what? You don't deserve what I promised to you because you could have gotten an A plus." And I was like, "Did you get an A plus?" But I got shut down. So you can see why I would get triggered when someone criticized my work. When someone said, "You're not doing good enough," oh boy. That trigger will lash out. Bad. It was so bad. So understanding this connection was the first step in taming my trigger. I began to work on my self-esteem and learn to separate my self-worth from my work, which is something that it's so important. And again, I learned this in my 30s, so it doesn't matter when you learn it as long as you learn it. Separate yourself from your work, your self-worth from your work, because your work might not be understood by others, but as long as you know what your worth is and that you're giving it 100%, those criticisms won't hurt you, won't touch that button that triggers a reaction, a negative reaction. And I know, for me, it wasn't easy and it didn't happen overnight. But with effort and self-reflection, I learned to pause and consider the feedback objectively rather than reacting defensively. This not only improved my professional relationships, but also helped me grow personally. By taming that trigger, I gained better control over my emotions and reactions. I became more open to feedback, which helped me improve my skills and advance in my career. This experience showed me the power of addressing and managing my triggers, because at the end of the day, these are my triggers. At the end of the day, whatever is triggering you, it's your trigger. It's not my fault or it's not someone else's fault that you get triggered, but yours. It's your fault because it's your trigger and you have given it all the power over you. So, what exactly are triggers? This is something that I learned. And triggers are emotional responses that are disproportionately intense compared to the situation at hand. Like road rage, right? You have probably seen a video online and said that person is triggered. Well, triggers are often tied to past traumas, just like mine, unresolved conflicts, or deep-seated insecurities. And understanding the root cause of these triggers is fucking crucial for managing them. How are you supposed to manage something that you don't even know it's there, right? When somebody tells you, "Oh, you're triggered," don't get mad. They're just telling you, "Hey, dude, there's something bugging you. And it's making you look like an asshole." Instead of being like, "This is how I am, whatever, whatever," just be like, "Oh, shit. This person might be right. He might be right. She might be right. I need to look into this to see why I get so triggered." Because here's what happens. When a trigger is activated, the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for emotional processing, takes over. It says, this motherfucker is mine, and takes over. This triggers the fight or flight response, flooding the body with the stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. And this reaction can override irrational thinking and lead to impulsive actions. Again, there's so many videos online that you can actually see the stress and the adrenaline taking over. Like their eyes get glossy, or like like you can see something happening inside the person. But common triggers include criticism, rejection, feeling ignored, or even certain environments or people. Identifying your specific triggers is the first step towards managing them. Once you know what sets you off, you can start developing strategies to handle these situations more effectively. You actually can come up with steps that you can use whenever you get triggered. Like, for example, if I get triggered, one of the things that I do now is to take a deep breath. But it's also important to recognize that triggers are not inherently bad. Okay? They are signals from the brain that something needs attention. By addressing the underlying issues, you can reduce the intensity of your triggers and respond more balancedly and in a controlled manner. You're not gonna lash out at your kids. You're not gonna lash out at your wife, at your coworkers, at your friends, or someone just passing you by on the freeway, right? Or just someone cutting you off while driving on the street. Because there are triggers that have consequences, especially when it comes to road rage. And you might be wondering, why should I go through the effort to tame my triggers? That's a good question. And that's a question that I ask myself. But the truth is, learning to manage your emotional reactions can drastically improve your quality of life. It can lead to healthier relationships, better decision making, and greater emotional stability, which I honestly believe that's what we should all aim for. Consider this. Every time you react to a trigger, you're giving away your power. You're letting past experiences and unresolved issues dictate your present actions. By taming your triggers, you reclaim that power and take control of your life. Managing your triggers can enhance your professional life. It allows you to handle criticism and conflict more constructively, making you a more effective leader and team member. It also fosters a positive work environment and promotes collaboration, because now people are not going to be afraid of you. People are not going to hate you. People are not going to be like, he's hard to deal with. He gets triggered all the time and shit like that. But on a personal level, taming your triggers can lead to greater self-awareness and personal growth. It helps you understand your emotions and reactions, paving the way for deeper self-compassion and resilience. This journey of self-discovery can be incredibly rewarding and transformative. Now, these are the steps I took to tame my triggers. And again, like I always say, this can help you. That's why I'm putting it out there. But so first, identify your triggers. Pay attention to situations that cause intense emotional reactions and reflect on why they affect you so deeply. Journaling can be a helpful tool for this. Journaling has helped me a lot. A lot of people don't know how to journal, to be honest. But one of the things that I do to figure out what my triggers are from that day is that I ask myself this question. The question is, what triggered me today? What made me feel uneasy? What made me feel ragey? What made me mad and why? And then I just start writing. Oh, okay, this person did this, whatever, 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 and it made me mad because of this. How it made me feel, and it helps me a lot doing this, and it can help you too. Second, practice mindfulness. Mindfulness techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, and grounding exercises can help you stay present and calm when a trigger is activated. This gives you the space to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively and do something you'll regret later, like a road rage accident. There's been too many here in Salt Lake to count that it's getting crazy. Third, develop coping strategies. This could include positive self-talk, seeking support from trusted friends or mentors, or engaging in activities that reduce stress and promote well-being. Having a toolbox of strategies can help you manage your triggers effectively, which is something that you need to do in order for you to move on to the next level in your life. Lastly, consider seeking professional help. Therapists and counselors can provide valuable insights and techniques for managing triggers. Again, I'm a big proponent of therapy, of talking about your issues. I heard a lot of motherfuckers throughout my life, and even now, saying that if you're a guy, you cannot talk about your issues. You cannot talk about your triggers. But if that's not helping you, if that's keeping you stuck in certain relationships, in a certain way of life, in certain environments, why not tame those triggers and those emotions? And a therapist or a counselor can help you work through underlying issues and develop healthier emotional responses. And I know this because it helped me. Listen, I believe in your ability to tame your triggers because it's not about eliminating them completely. It's about understanding and managing them so they no longer control your life. This journey, whenever you decide to take it, or if you're taking it right now, requires patience and persistence. But the rewards are fucking immense. They're so big that you're gonna feel so good about this. Remember, you have the power to choose how you respond to life's challenges. And by taking control of your triggers, you're taking a significant step towards personal freedom and emotional well-being. It's a journey worth taking, and you're not alone. Unfortunately, right now, I can say this with certainty. A lot of people are triggered. We have elections coming up that's triggering people. We have the economy that's triggering people. We have illnesses that's triggering people. We have jobs, unfortunately, that can be triggering. Everyone is going through triggers right now. But the problem is that not a lot of people are taming those triggers. They're just living life, trigger after trigger, getting mad, getting more upset, and unfortunately sometimes the reactions are not something that is going to help them in the long term. And in some instances, those reactions can cause you to either lose your life or to end up in jail. And you don't want that for a stupid trigger. Just because somebody criticized you, just because someone said something that reminded you of something that happened to you, I don't know, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and you haven't dealt with it, now you did something stupid and you may go to jail. So think about that, because this is something that you need to look into deep within yourself and figure out if you are triggered right now. And if you are, start working on it. Don't give away your power. This is your power. You're giving away your reasoning. You're giving away all your emotions for someone else to control them and use them against you if they want to. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me on the Bad Influence podcast. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might benefit from it too. Together, we can support each other in taming our triggers and living a more empowered life. So stay mindful, stay resilient, and keep pushing forward. Until next time, have a great day.